Hey, hey. Gotta make sure I'm live. All right, you guys. I just realized that they're vacuuming out there. So hopefully you guys can hear me. I'll try to I should probably talk louder, right? So let me know if you can hear me okay. When you jump on, just let me know where you're joining me from. And if you're watching the replay, just let me know replay. And we'll jump right into this. I'm really excited, you guys. So I have a goal of reading, what is it? 12 books, I believe 12 books this year. I wanted to say 24. I think 24 was last year, 12 books this year. I have a whole book list and I just finished. I would not let February end without finishing my second book. So I just finished this book up this weekend called Win the Day by Mark Batterson. 7 daily habits to help you stress less and accomplish more. You guys, I loved this book. I can't even tell you. It's like full of highlights and all that stuff. So I just wanted to share with you guys some of my favorite takeaways from the book. Hi, Carlene. Yay, I'm so glad you can hear me. Hey, John. I cannot wait to get out to New York, John. I want to see Niagara Falls. We've got to figure out how to make that happen. So anyway, come on in. And at the end of this, I'm actually going to give one of these books away. I actually bought extra ones. I'm giving, when some of the people on our team reach certain ranks, I'm giving them, I just decided this when I finished this book, is like, oh my gosh, everybody needs one of these. So I'm giving these away when my team reaches executive. And then also, I have some extra for you. So I am going to give one of these away at the end of this live. So stick with me. I am just going to share with you guys some of my favorite things that I gained from this book. I wrote down tons of notes. I don't have it memorized, but I just want to share with you guys some things that I felt like, wow, people need to hear this. It resonated with me. I'm always a learner. I always want to be challenged and I always want to grow because we all need to grow, right? The minute we feel like we have it all figured out, the minute we feel like we don't need to grow is when we're in trouble. So this book was pretty awesome. And I love how they started out. He was talking about like, when is the scariest time when you run a marathon? Like at what point is the scariest time of a marathon? What do you guys think when you go to run a marathon? So you would think, Miss Heather Evers. Okay, I'll look at the comments when I'm done, you guys, because I got to stay focused. Yes, Heather, I could come by and see you and come by and see John and Carolyn. So when do you guys think is the scariest time when you run a marathon? Okay, it's not the 20th mile. Okay, no, it's not, Heather. Well, although you've ran some marathons, so maybe it is for you, but it's usually the starting line. Usually the task ahead of us is so daunting and so overwhelming. That is the scariest part, is right at the beginning. I hope you guys can still hear me. So it's usually right at the beginning, at the starting line. Sometimes everything we know we want to accomplish can look so daunting and so overwhelming, okay? And that's really the basis for this book, is like, how can we break this up and have bite-sized pieces? So he equips us to tackle our long-term goals by really living present and winning each day. So breaking it up into those bite-sized pieces, which is each day, and that's how you can really accomplish your long-term goals. And we've heard that, right? Master the mundane. Small decisions made over a long period of time will really get you what you want, right? So this book's going to challenge your current thinking on how you feel like your past, what kind of role your past plays in your current success. Those were some of the hardest chapters for me to read, because he really dives into that. And you do have to take a look at your past and how that plays into the story you're telling yourself moving forward into your future. So I don't know about you guys, but I definitely want to win more and stress less, which is why I bought the book. I was like, yeah, sold. That daily habits to stress less and accomplish more. Duh. Who doesn't want that? So I'm going to cover you guys the 7 habits. I'm not going to go into detail. I'm just going to highlight the things that stuck out to me. I wanted to give so much more information on this live than I'm going to. We would be here for hours if I shared everything I loved. So I just want to highlight, and then I want to encourage you to A, stay on so that you could win the book, or B, just go buy the book from Amazon. Okay. So this is Win the Day by Mark Batterson. I really highly suggest it. So the first habit is called flip the script. Oh my goodness, flip the script. So this is talking about how if you want to change your life, start with changing your story. And the difference between success and failure is the story that we're telling ourselves. Isn't that so true? And I see that every day here at the house of like, if I feel like I'm a bad mom and I'm telling myself that story of like, you're such a bad mom, guess what kind of mom I act like? I end up acting like a bad mom, right? Same thing with my role as a wife. Same thing when we talk to our children. I always say, like, talk to the king in them because you're going to get more king. Because when they hear you speaking to the king, that's the story they start telling themselves. And so they start acting that way. But if you speak to the idiot or, the behavior you're seeing and you speak to that, then you're going to see more of that behavior because that's the story they tell themselves and that's how they behave. So flip the script. You may be telling yourself the wrong story if your life is not what you want it to be today. So if you're looking at your life today and it's not where you want it to be, you might be telling yourself the wrong story. Here is the most important highlight I got out of this chapter. So write this down. Someone put it in the comments. Your stories are more important than the situation you're in. So you could be in a situation, but the story you tell yourself about what happened in that situation is way more important than the situation itself. Oh my gosh, she goes into detail about this in the chapter, you guys. It's like, hey, Miss Adrian. Hi, Meg. Okay, you guys, I'll say hi to you guys in just a minute. Okay, so that habit 2. So habit 1 was flip the script. Habit 2 is kiss the wave. So kiss the wave. What does that mean? The obstacle is not necessarily the enemy. The obstacle is the way. So you've got to kiss the wave that throws you against the rock of ages. And he really talks about the history of this saying, but how you have to come to terms with the pain that has made you who you are. So instead of trying to change the past, which is absolutely impossible, what if we leveraged the lessons to help change ourselves? Oh, like, can you guys see why I love this book so much? Any obstacle that you encounter is not the enemy, but it is the way. It's the way towards change. Okay, habit 3, eat the frog. So this one was really good. I will say this was probably my favorite chapter out of the entire book. Eat the frog. So if you, and this is another write down quote. This is like, I'm giving you guys social media content for days. If you want God to do the super, then you've got to do the natural. Well, what does that mean? You can't just pray like it depends on God. You have to work like it depends on you. Oh my gosh, mind blowing. This stuff is so good. He also talks about habit stacking and decision fatigue. So if any of you have heard my story, you know I've gotten overstimulated really easily since I've had the kids, and I find myself with adult ADHD, just like, oh my gosh, I sometimes short circuit. Like I have so many things going on. I don't even know how to pick apart what I'm supposed to work on, right? That was the prior me before I got on my supplements and before I really got down some of these good habits that I've been learning and reading about and all that stuff. But he talked about decision fatigue, and man, this hit home so close to home for me. So reducing the number of decisions we make buys back bandwidth to be able to make big decisions. So you've heard like some CEOs wear the same exact polo every day, and they do the same exact habit. They wake up, they do the stretch. Like my grandpa, I always remembered my grandpa every morning would wake up and he would do like the same stretches. That's like robotic. That's not a stretch, but he always did the same stretches. It's like those habits. But the less decisions you have to make is going to buy you back bandwidth to be able to make big decisions, right? So decision fatigue. Oh my gosh. So also we excuse. Oh, this is a good one, you guys. We gotta have a moment of pause before I read this one. This one is so good. I'm gonna slow down so you can hear it. We excuse the success that others achieve as the confluence of factors that they could not control and we cannot replicate. Simply put, they won the talent lottery that, of course, allows us to maintain status quo. I'm gonna read that again because it is like So, so good. We excuse the success that others achieve as the confluence of factors that they could not control and we cannot replicate. Meaning they hit the talent lottery, right? And of course, that allows the rest of us to just maintain status quo. Talk about a story that we're telling ourselves, right? That's huge. All right, habit 4, fly the kite. He has so many great analogies in this book and actually historical stories that went down that really help solidify these points that he makes. And so you want to like dive into these stories. I'm not going to go into them, but fly the kite, this next one, cut the rope. There's just so many different stories that I'm thinking of right now, but I'm not going to share all of them with you. But fly the kite, habit 4. How you do anything is how you do everything. I think all of us parents say that to our kids all the time, right? It really matters how you do things, everything that you do, whether it's how you treat your sibling, how you do your chores, all of that stuff. So if you aren't making the little sacrifices right now, then you aren't ready. You're not going to be able to make those bigger sacrifices that are required when you do achieve that success that you're wanting. If you aren't taking the little risks now, then you aren't ready, because there's no way that you're ready for the bigger risks that are required that comes with what you want. And I love this quote from Martin Luther King Jr. He said, if it falls your lot to sweep streets in life, sweep streets like Michelangelo painted pictures, sweep streets like Beethoven composed music, sweep streets like Shakespeare wrote poetry. Sweep streets so well that all the hosts of heaven and earth would have to pause and say, here lived a great street sweeper who swept his job well. And oh my gosh, I just love that. How you do anything is how you do everything. Character matters, integrity matters, what you do when nobody's watching matters, the words you use matter. So important. Habit 5, cut the rope. I love this one because he shares this story about this guy that was trying to, at the World Fair, obviously years and years and years and years and years and years and years ago, was trying to introduce the elevator to people. Okay, this concept of elevator, and everybody thought he was crazy. And the only way he could demonstrate how it worked is like cut the rope on this elevator, and it just like went slamming down and it just took everybody by surprise. But he gives this whole explanation about it. But the whole concept is basically you are one decision away from a completely different life. So God honoring goals are often God-sized goals. So you can't accomplish them without God's help. And that's how God gets all the glory. He does things that you can't take credit for. Isn't that what we want? Right? God-sized goals, God honoring goals, right? You need God to help you get those goals accomplished, and then he gets the glory and you can't take credit for them. So there are moments when playing it safe is actually very risky. So I'll say that again. There are moments when playing it safe is very risky. You've got to make that phone call. You've got to make that move. You've got to take that jump, right? And yes, you're going to have to make that mistake. We all make mistakes. But that one decision that could change your life is probably going to be the hardest decision you ever make. But it could be the best decision that you ever make. And you guys know the Latin word for decision, for decide, it's cut. So if you're right now sitting there like, I got to make a big decision, I got to make a move, I got to do something, but you're sitting there in fear, you're sitting there paralyzed with the thought of what other people think of you, you got to cut the rope. So habit 6, wind the clock. I made a post about this one a couple weeks ago, and it was talking about time is measured in moments, not in minutes. I think, Diane, you remember that post I made. It's such a good chapter on really being present. If you don't control the calendar, it will control you. And mindfulness is just living in the present tense. And it's absolutely vital. It's why we plan for and schedule out rest days on Sundays when it's not month end. Why it's so important to plan out margin in your life. Okay, last habit, habit 7, seed the clouds. Oh my gosh, the story that goes with this one, this whole science about this guy that created literally like his breath and created like moisture into these clouds. And I can't even explain what he did. He ended up creating some sort of chemical thing. Andy's probably going to laugh at me because I'm not the girl that knows ingredients. But he put like this gas thing in these balloons, went up into the sky, into the clouds, and the interaction between what he had created and in the clouds, it like created temporary snow. So the whole point was seeding the clouds, and it changed everything. It's just a really fascinating story about history and all that stuff. But so today, what you want to see tomorrow. So praying without planning is a waste of time, and planning without praying is a waste of energy. Again, going back to that decision fatigue, poor decisions can be a result of fatigue. So if you found yourself making poor decisions and you found yourself in a life where you're like, crap keeps happening. Like, why is it me? You start to take that victim role as I've suffered all of this. And this is, why is it me? Why me? And this keeps happening with my family and with my job and with our finances. And it's like medical stuff. And like, why me? Why is it always me? Well, sometimes we do get into the habit of not taking care of ourselves. And sometimes, I'm not saying all the time, but sometimes we end up consistently over a long period of time making poor decisions. And sometimes that's based on fatigue because we're not taking care of ourselves. That's a tough pill to swallow, right? So poor decisions can be a result of fatigue. Want to make good decisions? Make fewer decisions. That is like music to my ears. Want to make good decisions? Make fewer decisions. Decision making takes mental energy. We do fatigue over time. So I'm going to leave you guys with this last saying that you've got to write down, use it to inspire other people. But I thought this was so good. If you don't enjoy life now, then you're not going to enjoy life then. If you don't enjoy it here, if you don't enjoy it here, you're not going to enjoy it there. How many times do we have that? Like, once I get there, once I move there, once this happens. No, if you're not enjoying your life right now, you're not going to enjoy it then. And if you're not enjoying it here, you're not going to enjoy it there. Oh my gosh, you guys, this book is so good. That's what I've got for you. It's Win the Day by Mark Batterson. So if you guys want to win this book, I just need you to comment below what was one thing that stood out that I just mentioned out of my highlights. Share this video. It has a public privacy. It's public. So comment, like it, and share it, okay? And then I will pick one person out of that probably in 24 hours. I'll give it 24 hours to kind of get out there and stuff. But I will do a random, I'll put all the names in a drawing, and I'll have the kids choose a name. And then I have the book right over there, a fresh book that I will stick in the mail for you guys, okay? You can also tag somebody in the comments that will get you an extra entry, okay? All right, love you guys. I hope you enjoyed this. I'm so excited to start my new book. I believe it's like Pocket Full of Money or something like that. Let me see, I'll tell you what it is. Oh, it's by my bed. Never mind, it's by my bed. I think it's Pocket Full of Money or something like that. So anyway, let me know if you're reading a book. Let me know if what your goal is on how many books you're reading this year, maybe a favorite book, all that good stuff. But thanks for letting me share with you guys tonight. Happy Tuesday, happy March. I just pray that this March would be absolutely magical for you and everything that you are going after. All right, bye guys.